Hi, this is Dr. Kimberley Linert, and I'm here with Luann Horobin. And we just want to share some inspirational things and some simple things that you can do to help through this time. And Luann, why don't we start out with that quote that we were talking about?
Thank you, Kimberly. It's really a pleasure to be here with you. And just to share some thoughts that I'm hoping can be valuable in some way for whoever relates to them. And so a quote that came to mind for me, which is actually on my Instagram, is talking about change and how we can be how we can make such a difference for ourselves in how we perceive that change, and especially with this change, because we didn't expect it and it came suddenly and it really affected all of our lives. So it's kind of like we have all these plans in place to do great things, and then all of a sudden, okay, those plans are kind of out the window for whatever period of time that is. So a huge change from outside makes me wonder, like, how do we manage that so that we can feel, more, I guess, that we can have a better experience with that, more empowered rather than the loss of our power or the change of that power. So the quote that comes to mind for me is, change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. So that's sometimes how we wait, sometimes from outside. Instead, we are the ones that we have been waiting for, and we are the change that we seek. And I can say from times when I've dealt with big changes that came from outside, and I wanted to have a change in circumstances, I really had to change how I looked at it and how I dealt with it first. And then it seemed like things came together more. And I think anything that can help have this not be so stressful is what I am totally available for.
Exactly. And I mean, you're the person that people can really relate to, because I know you've had some really difficult times just in the last few weeks in your family, a death in your family, and then all of a sudden they close down the college and you're online and you teach at the college. So first a huge loss, big changes, and it's like you're walking and it's like, you know, stumbling forward with all these changes, but you have remained flexible and kept looking towards, really what you want and how you want your life to be, even though it hasn't been easy. So,
Mm.
you're an awesome person for people to be able to relate to. And all of us have our own story. Like, I'm going to work every day still, and I'm with the public, and there's a lot of people in the grocery stores, in different professions who, they're going to work every day. They're kind of afraid, but they're going to work to serve. And so we all have
Mm.
our stories about, how this has affected us. And some people are,
Mhm.
worried about if they're going to be able to pay their bills. I mean, there's so much going on. So how can we go through these changes and become flexible and malleable enough to actually get them pointing in the direction that we want them to go? How can we
Mhm.
flow? How can we experience this in a different way? And I think a lot of it is how we react to things and how
Mhm.
we think about things. Because if you get some thought in your mind and it's going around and around and around and around, and then all of a sudden you get this feeling, whether it's good or bad, whatever you're thinking about and really concentrating on, it can make you sick. I mean, if it's something terrible, it can cause you to feel sick in your stomach or
Mhm.
sick in some way, or just feel
Mhm.
depressed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a thought, and we can start spinning this over and over, especially when we're listening to all the bad news. But what if
Mm-hmm.
we took our thoughts, and when we saw something that was causing us angst, what if we just took a different perspective and looked at it from a different way and say, okay, how else can I look at this? How else can I
Mm-hmm.
approach this so that I don't have to feel this way? And in fact, someone taught me a tool that has been really helpful for me in my life. It's called I forgot what it's called. It's called like remove and replace. So if I'm
All right.
thinking something that's making me really upset, and even being with your family every day,
Every
and
day,
and
all day.
all day, and the
Mm-hmm.
tempers are going up, or the
There's more
discomfort
opportunity for
going
things to
up.
show up, for sure.
Yeah, and so it's really easy to feel uncomfortable or angry or upset. And so I've learned to take that and let go of the feeling I don't want to feel and say, okay, what do I want to replace it with? I'm going to replace it with
Yes.
a feeling of peace, of happiness, of joy, of contentment. And that's how that works. And then the second part of that is just thinking about what I'm grateful for, because most of us, at least in America, we still have a house, we still have food, we still have the air conditioning or the heat on, depending on where you live. So
Mm-hmm.
there's always something. So if we can just flip our thoughts and don't let those
Right.
thoughts go round and round and round.
Oh, I think you're raising a really good point, Kimberly, about a tool that actually has helped me deal with many, many things over the past very short period of time. And I would agree with you. It relates to that. If I have a thought going around and around in my head, I really want it to be a good one. And a few years ago, I learned, did some studying, and I learned actually a lot about mindset. So it's actually part of the work that I work with. And I think it's been a lifesaver for me, because prior to me learning and knowing how to work with my mind, instead of have my mind kind of control me, I worried a lot, and something like this would probably be the enemy. I would have like knots in my stomach, and I probably could just even make myself sick from that. So the tool you're speaking of the remove and replace, reminds me how it relates to working with our mind. So if I could take a minute and share that.
That would be great.
So when we're having the thought that is, it could be the thought or it could be self-talk, it's words. They actually do trigger chemicals in our brain. So it's a real feeling that we have, because when we speak kindly to ourselves, or if we're just curious instead of determined, but if we're curious and kind of giving something a second thought, that actually stimulates the part of the brain that it's what I call green light, and it feels good. So it gives us energy, but even more than that, it keeps our head clear, and we're able to be calm, and we're able to think things through. Like, we're able to come to conclusions, we're able to be creative so we can figure something out. But when we're worried, it's interesting because it's a totally different part of the brain. So if I'm criticizing myself, or I'm worried, or I'm stressed, or maybe I'm angry, because that could be happening. I could be angry at the things that are happening. That actually triggers another part of the brain, and it's what I call red light. And it like squishes up your veins, and it actually contracts the organs in your body. So that is truly why we don't feel good, is because our bodies only is functioning like all knotted up. But that's actually what's happening in our brain also. So it's so hard to think of what else could be possible, Or what could I really do? Because sometimes I have to be creative. I have to think of, okay, there has to be another way. And when I think about it, and there's many different ways we can do things, but hopefully our brain will help us with that. And that leads me to one more of our simple tools. Our simple tools are, we can ask a question. So when it gets really kind of beyond us, we can actually ask the question, how can this get better? And we can say it again and again, how can this get better? How can this get better? Oh, and one of my favorite ones is, how is this better than I ever imagined? Because then it means I didn't have to think of everything, which is great. Takes some of the stress out. How can this be better than I ever imagined? That lights up the green light part.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty soon, ideas start coming in. So it's a way of working with a situation that has us be actually still keep our own presence and our own thoughts and our and not I guess so that we can be proactive with how we want to deal with things and not feel like as if we're reactive, which doesn't feel that good, because it just feels like everything's kind of out of control. So that's the actual science behind it. It's why it works so good. So, and it's so simple. We can just do it instantly and we'll notice a difference.
Yeah, and as you're speaking, it reminds me of a practice I learned from another teacher, and she uses the phrase, and this is how you set up your day. She uses the phrase, "Wouldn't it be nice if?" And you do this at the beginning of your day, but you can do it anytime. Wouldn't it be nice if? And then you say what you would like. Well, like when I'm on the way to work, wouldn't it be nice if all the lights were green? Wouldn't it be nice if when I got to work, everybody was happy and, enjoying the day? Wouldn't
Yeah,
it be nice if my special friend called me, or I got to
right.
do this? So you just set up your day with, wouldn't it be nice if, and you say what you would like it to happen. And that intention is so
Yes.
important. When you intend
Yes.
something and just put it out there. And I know some of us are saying, wouldn't it be nice if I could go to the park? Right now, we're not going to the park, but what could we do instead that would give us just as much joy as going to the park? Maybe we can go out in our own backyard.
Yeah. So what are some other ways we can? And this also reminds me, when we say wouldn't it be nice if, is that remember, I think, I truly feel just compassion for how much change has been occurring and how much that energy that requires an effort, and it can be really stressful. I would say it is stressful, actually, handling a lot of this stress at once. And so these tools actually can make a big difference about how we feel about how we manage the day. But remembering that all of us are in it, it's also a nice thought to think of, what can I do to maybe make someone else's day a little bit nicer today? Because there is so much. And sometimes I call it I would say it's kind of like the quiet soldier. Sometimes people are, feeling very bothered by something, but they're really not saying something. And we can make a difference in everyone's life just by asking a few of those questions. And it can just help us to manage the amount of stress that we have to manage as we readjust the actual circumstances that we're dealing with in our everyday.
Right. And as you're saying that, it reminds me of, first of all, we want to be aware of what's going on around us and be aware of the needs. Because if you look, you will see that. Someone posted on our county website, she went to the grocery store and there was this gentleman in like a wheelchair doing the cart thing. He had his groceries. He couldn't get his groceries into his trunk, and she said, "Hey, can I help you?" And she said to him, why are you out here getting your groceries? You know, he's like 80 years old. Why are you out here? He said, because my wife is sick and no one else is going to do it. And she gave him her phone number. She said, next time you need groceries, let me know. So, you know,
Yes.
just being aware, but also whenever we're actually helping or serving others, we're so engaged in taking care of them and in loving them and taking, you know, supporting them, that we kind of forget about what's going on with us for at least for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
And that's helpful as far as switching your mindset.
Mm-hmm. So I would agree. It helps us see, um, keep in mind what I would call, uh, I guess I would call that a bigger picture, our bigger sense of purpose.
Mhm.
And it's a reminder that we are together and we can help each other.
Yes, and I said this on an earlier video today, but if you need help, please ask. People don't know
Mhm.
if you don't ask. Some people are going to notice, but some people, if you're in your house and you need something, you're alone. No one's going to know if
That's
you don't
true.
tell us. So,
So it's a great time to have thoughts about how can we be proactive.
mhm,
And I think what I am hearing you say is that as we are proactive, we help each other work through it and we help each other reach solutions and find new ways. And someone else might have another idea that
mhm.
could be really helpful. It could be something exactly what we're thinking of or what we're looking for. So there is a saying, many minds make light work. And that's again the advantage of, you know, checking our thoughts and keeping the green lights on,
Uh-huh.
as I say. And that has been something that has truly helped me also feel at times that, I felt like as if I really appreciated the value that I was able to give to others. And I know that, you know, we feel good when we give value. So any way that we can help each other um, feel more productive or more, uh, any way that we can help people recognize how valuable each person is in the world. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes, yes. And you know, as we're helping people, don't forget about your own self, your own essence. Make sure you're
Hmm.
taking care of yourself, keeping your needs taken care of. That's when you can overflow to other people. And there was just one more thing I wanted to talk about, Luann, and that is how you can change your state when you move. And moving might be working on something you're working on for work or for your goals or for something in your family. But moving could also mean, which I'd like to talk about, is actually moving. So I know we can't go to the gym, but you can walk around your house. I have a mini tramp in my house. I love that mini tramp. I get on it, I put the music on, and I jump. I have a hula hoop. I like to do hula hooping. You
Yeah.
know, and it can be walking, it can be doing squats. You know, I do a
Yeah, can
micro
be doing
workout
squats,
that
yes.
entails, you know, squats, and I pretend that I'm jumping in my mind but I'm not jumping
Yes.
anymore. But I am doing the
Hmm.
squats. So I mean, any type of movement helps. If you're sitting and watching
Yes,
TV, get up and
it
go do
does.
something else.
And, you know, to come back to the science part of it, is sometimes, you know, we wonder, like, why do people make so much emphasis on things like this? But our body is largely water. And when we move, it's almost like like if you see a glass of water that's been left for a while, it doesn't taste the same. But as soon as it moves, the molecules actually change. It's kind of like when you want to mix something up, you shake it, it changes the molecules. It's the same thing in our body. So I think our body, I'm not very good at quoting scientific statistics, so it's over 80%. I think it's actually close to 90%
Mhm.
of our body is water. So as we move that, it changes our molecules, and it helps us to change all those things about how we feel. Keeps our organs moving, and it's another way of one thing that is easy for us to do that helps us. I call them sanity tools. How do we keep our sanity and kind of keep our, I guess I want to keep my sanity and my zest for my life, and my sense of humor, I'm hoping.
Yes.
So all of these things help. That taking action is a great way to set up the day in the morning, because it gets your body and mind moving in a, kind of a productive way, or just a feel good. It's a good start to the day. Clears things out. I
Yes.
call it when you do motion in the morning, you clear out the traffic jam that from happening in your mind. So we don't want to do that. We want to keep it nice and clear and flowing.
Yes. Yes.
So it's actually refreshing. So I guess what we're talking about is we're actually refreshing during different times of the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And now, Luann, I know, as part of your profession, you do work with people one-on-one if they kind of get stuck emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
or you work with people with their careers, or just with their
Oh, yes.
mindset. And, if, if someone, we'll make sure and put the information down below too, but if someone wanted to actually work with you, let's say they're just like, I can't get through this by myself, I'd really need help. Just talk
Mm-hmm.
a little bit about how you can help them,
Oh,
how people do that.
I completely, I am definitely available for that, and I feel very feel very driven to help people to have less stress in their life, and to also be feeling aligned, because when stress comes to us from outside, it often kind of like shakes us up, and it's a little harder to get aligned. So I have several processes of mindset, and I have a background working with career and change, personal empowerment and leadership. So several things together that kind of just help put the pieces of the puzzle together, just so that we can navigate it, and we can, I call it like, get on the other side of the mountain. And so there's a few things that we can do. At the moment, I am offering a complimentary strategy session to help people to work through things that may be coming up for them. And I'm happy to do that. So we can have a conversation. I might have an idea of resources or additional tools, but we'll sort through that in the call.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for that, Luann. I'm sure a lot of people will want to do that because, especially if you're feeling really stuck or just
Mm,
like hopeless, there's hope, and there's people to
yes,
help. So please
yes,
reach out.
yes.
And
And I just wanted to say one other thing, it's a really good thing to think about, is that this is ultimately a huge change, and it is also not going to last forever. So part of what we are thinking about too is, being aligned so that we can manage this stress, but also so that we can be prepared to embrace the changes and the conditions that we'll need to continue to be with. And so I work with a process that actually brings clarity into that uncertainty, so that we're able to work with uncertainty. So it's like work with it and be proactive with it. And I'm really just feeling like as if I'd love to share that. It's made such a difference in my life.
so, yes, yes, thank you so much. And I just want everyone to know that, like I said, I'm going into work every day, every morning when I get up. And I know not everybody's a praying person, but I am. I believe in prayer. I believe in keeping my thoughts positive. And so I get up in the morning and I do a meditation to get myself cleared. I say a prayer first for myself to sustain me, to make me resilient, because I'm going and I'm working with the public every day. And now it's getting longer hours and more days because no other doctor can work where I'm working now. So I'm working 6 days. And so I need that. So I pray for myself. And then I pray for the people working with me, who we're going to have people come
Yes.
in and we don't know if they're well or not, but we just do every precaution that, every possible precaution. In fact, I'm so tired of cleaning. I don't know what it was. I'm so tired of cleaning. And I pray over them, and it's gotten to the point where the manager said, "Can you please make sure you're praying for our place?" He's actually asking me to pray. So I pray for us. I pray for every person coming in, that they feel loved, that they feel safe, that they feel cared for, that there's light and healing, and that they come and get taken care of the way they should. And then I pray for the community around us, that is
Yes.
safe and healthy and good there. And then I pray for my country, and then I pray for my world. And I do that in the morning, and sometimes I do that at lunch, because sometimes I have to center myself again at lunch. But what I'm saying is, there is hope. This will end at one point. And like Luann said, let's get ourselves ready for it. But I want you to know that you are loved, you are important, you are beautiful essence of a person, and you are being prayed for every day and sent light and love and healing, however you accept that. It's being sent out to you. And if there's anything that I can do, that Luann can help with, please reach out to us. And we would just love to be of service.
I would be honored to be of service, and I will also echo, I truly care for all of us. I know people reaching this, I may not have met you, but all people I just have just a compassion for, so that we can be our best person through this, and live our best life
Yeah.
with the tools that we can get through this, and we can get through this together.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Yes.
So,
So thank you, and anything that I can do to be of help, to be part of anyone's circle, would be happy to do that. Okay.
all right. Thank you so
Kim,
much. We love you
yes,
guys.
we love you, love you, love you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Talk to you soon.